Update. Nightmare coworker thinks he's untouchable, slips up. Original post. So I'm currently working for a rather large discounter as a cashier and stocker. This means that we have minimal staff to keep the store running, to minimum 3 to 4 on busier days. This means that each worker not only has a higher workload, but it also means that everyone except the first register needs to do multiple things throughout their shift. The one responsible for the organization of tasks is the most senior full-time employee, internally known as the vice manager. Names and exact jobs and titles have been changed for privacy, obviously. Recently, we've fallen into a staff shortage due to our previous store manager getting promoted and their replacement, along with 2 other co-workers quitting due to medical issues and/or moving to a different city. This meant that Regional was scrambling for new hires and onboarded quickly, skipping most of the formal onboarding process, which for me included about 8 paid hours of e-learning courses. 2 of the 3 new hires are not noteworthy in the slightest, but number 3, let's call him John, certainly was a character. John is a 25-year-old toxically friendly, non-native part-time worker who also works at a fast food chain across town as his second job. When John was interviewed, he not only lied about previous experience, claiming he worked for one of our sister organizations and knew all the systems, but also lied about his availability, given his other job. This led to the interviewer from Regional saying that he was eligible to be a vice manager, VM for short. When he started, due to the rushed hiring and lack of a store manager, he didn't do any of the e-learning. This is critical, since several of those, Register 101, Health and Safety, Conflict Resolution, Youth Protection, are legally required to be allowed to work a register. Since we didn't know that he hadn't done those before at our sister store, he was allowed to operate the register, which he was unsurprisingly very bad at. Anyway, on day 2 of working with us, I had him as my second cashier, and he was already gossiping about that shift's vice manager, saying how she was bad at her job and that she couldn't make it at a certain fast food place. Then he complimented our most senior full-time employee, saying, "Wow, you did that really well despite being, you know." Then he started actively spreading minor rumors about certain employees hating other employees, all whilst having the ego of a lifetime. If you asked him anything, he'd claim to know it, then tell you something completely wrong. He'd casually state that he was the fastest and most orderly and best at facing, etc., 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 all whilst his cash register performance, digitally tracked, was severely under the quota. Note that our quota isn't hard to hit. Once you've been at the register for a month or so, you'll hit it. And there are no repercussions unless you're under it consistently. Most exceed it by about 30%. This underperformance is why he was subsequently denied the ability to be a vice manager of a shift, since at that point, it had also come out that he didn't work in our sister store, but worked in a bakery in the same building as one. Then I was once again paired with him for a shift a few days ago. This is now month 3 or so of his employment, and he is universally disliked as a gossiper, underperformer, and fake nice coworker. Whilst everyone is still professional, he isn't on a friendly basis with anyone, as everyone knows about his gossiping and weird self-congratulatory compliments. That day, I found out that he'd handed in his 2-week notice, and what does he do? Underperform even harder. At one point during the day, his register crashes. When this happens, that register is out of commission for a good 10 minutes due to the automatic reboot sequence. The current vice manager then came to the register to see what's up and initiate the restart. I told him, "You could go outside and put the carts in the pen. They've been messy for a few weeks now." To which he responded, not to me, but to the vice manager, "This dude doesn't have anything to say here." To which the vice manager responded, "It's still a good idea. Come on, let's go outside." At this point, they had a talk outside that I didn't witness but got a transcript of later. "John, this clown doesn't have anything to say here. I'm practically doing your job." VM, "He's been here for way longer than you, and if Regional walked in when you were just sitting there, it'd be on you." John, "He just wants to boss me around, that racist." VM, "No, he suggested something that needs to be done anyway, and that he can't do as first register." John, "He obviously just wants to boss me around. I'm way higher than him in the hierarchy. He's just a cashier. I'm untouchable. They can't fire me. I already quit." I can do what I want, and that idiot can't make me do anything. VM, calm down, then come back in and go back to your register. End of discussion. After that, John looked visibly angry at me the rest of the day. Now note that John was 90 minutes late that day after calling in that he'd be an hour late, 10 minutes before his shift started. Anyway, I went to the VM after that to talk with him about John, where I found out about the conversation in rough strokes. Then I didn't see John until the end of the day, but what happened during that time is going to end up with a severe whooping next week. John wanted to leave 5 minutes early to catch the next public transit, which was exactly at closing, while we usually take about 15 minutes to close the store, paid. Due to the VM being sick of John, he agreed but changed his schedule, so he wouldn't be paid the 15 minutes after close. Then John called the VM, who was in the store talking to a coworker we'll call Dora, who had come in for shopping late in the evening. Dora had at that point told John that he could restock the bottled water since there was still time. VM, hey John, what's up? John, on speaker, yeah, I'm done with the register. That stupid C-word Dora just told me to restock the water. Who does that B think she is? VM, stunned, yeah. I'm gonna come get your register locked up. Be right there. Now, obviously, Dora heard that. She didn't say anything, so John didn't know she heard, but she told the VM that she'd stay after close to talk to him. I don't think I've ever heard any coworker use curse words or insults, so this is majorly out of bounds. During closing, she asked us if we were okay with being listed as witnesses, to which we agreed, and she said that the next Monday, so in a few hours, she'd be contacting corporate to see if she could make him exit a little faster and on fire. This is getting interesting. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Tell me you work at Dollar General without telling me you work at Dollar General. Neither confirming nor denying. He said, they can't fire me, I already quit. So if he quit, why did he continue working? 2-week notices are legally required for both sides here. Even if you're fired, you're still legally required to work unless your contract doesn't have minimum hours. You can only be fired immediately for some very specific reasons, or within 2 weeks of starting a job, which are usually security concerns or illegal stuff. For security concerns, they still have to pay you your contractual hours for those 2 weeks. I think they actually increased to 4-week notices after 12 months of employment or something like that. Now for the update. Hello again. It's been 2 weeks since the original post, as I wanted to wait for the full process to unravel, which was slowed by the Christmas chaos. As a quick reminder, the nightmare coworker John is a 25-year-old, incredibly incapable, toxically friendly part-timer who lied on his application about having worked for us in the past. After being a pain in the butt for a good quarter, he quit and then insulted one of our VMs, Dora, by accident. After that incident, Dora went to the regional manager to report it. This isn't the first report about John, given his track record of being incapable, but it was the last, though that's not quite correct. But I'll get to that later. Now, as mentioned in the original post, our atmosphere is very friendly, and even mild insults toward coworkers would get you a talking to. So his behavior was phenomenally out of line, especially toward an off-duty VM. Dora is also a VM. Though I don't know the full story, from what I could gather, several people from the upper brass came to our store to talk to our store manager Dora and John one by one, with 3 corporate members present each time. Dora said they meticulously went through the event with her, but seemed generally pretty unfazed in their expressions. The store manager said, they just asked about how much I trust you, Dora, and a few others, then looked around the store like the Inquisition and left. No idea why they came. Inspection isn't for another 3 weeks at least. Inquisition is what we call quality assurance, audits, and revisions, which is basically just the audit guys. This Monday, I looked at the work schedule and John was completely gone. Not even a listing with no hours, just removed. Since I was heading that way anyway for shopping, I hopped in and asked that day's VM, who said, no idea. They usually don't go away until at least a month after their last day. The store manager said, I don't think I can tell you what I know. If you want to know, go ask Claire. Now, Claire is our regional manager, whom we're on quite good terms with. So I hit up Claire after getting back. Me, hey Claire. Claire, hey OP, what's up? I thought you were off until the 3rd. Me. Yeah, I am. Just wanted to ask something a little off the record. Claire. Okay, let's see what I can do for you. Me. So just out of curiosity, what happened to John? He's not on the timetable anymore, and I haven't seen any goodbyes. Claire, audibly despairing. Oh yeah, John. John is about as close to super fired as possible. After Dora called the HR director, HR sent out some people to check up on things, and John was stealing stuff. Not much, at least not much we can prove, but enough to fire him on the spot. His personnel file is also marked with "Do not hire" and "Do not recommend," so I doubt he'll ever get a job with any company we're working with. Me. They can do that? Claire. Apparently. I can't, I know that much. Anyway, anything else? Me. No, that's it. Happy New Year's if we don't hear each other anymore. Claire. You too. So yeah, John is super fired. Sadly, no epic battle. Some of you attempted to guess where I work, though none were correct. If all our subsidiaries are counted together, we have a little over 3 times as many employees as Dollar General, though our customer base is just as animalistic. Given that John is also likely blocked from working for our suppliers, I think a good 500,000 jobs are forever out of John's reach. As far as I know, most discounters call around to other brands to see if a person is a no-no. So at least there's that. Other than that, happy belated Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Hope y'all survived the holidays and managed to get some family time. Now let's make it past New Year's, without me since I took time off. Part 2 was pretty weak, not gonna lie. Yeah, sometimes the run-up is more interesting than the crash. Well, there's always John's other part-time job. I don't want the man to become unemployed in general, just near me. I want him to go away, and preferably stop interacting with customers and coworkers for their sake. Any retailer as big as you describe would be subscribed to the industry blacklist. That could mean any retail job is gone for this fella. Reasonable assumption, probably. I've been out of retail for many years, but they were very real back in the day. Next story. Coworker was told she had to move desks to be near me. She burst into tears. Original post. I work in a small office. There are 3 of us, all middle-aged women. My manager, myself, and a woman I'll call Maggie. We work in a niche industry, so we manage all the administrative paperwork and have a lot of industry-specific knowledge that we provide to staff and customers. Our team dynamics have had ups and downs, as Maggie and I have very different personalities and work ethics. Maggie can be quiet and shy and says she has a lot of anxiety talking to people. Even though we have a customer-facing role, she will actively avoid customer interactions in person or by phone, leaving that sole responsibility to me. There have been moments where calls are back-to-back and our lobby is filled, and she has to be prompted by our manager to engage almost every time, while I'm begging in the office chat for some help. This has been going on for almost 2 years. Maggie doesn't like me. She says I am too loud, not funny, and overly direct to the point that it gives her extreme anxiety to talk to me. Maggie is the only person who feels this way about me. Most people, my boss and my boss's boss, praise me for working hard, being knowledgeable, and often being the first person to go to when my manager is unavailable, before Maggie, even though I was hired a year after she started. I personally think Maggie is threatened by me for some reason, and I am not the kind of person who cares about Maggie's opinion because I don't respect her. I'm here to work, not build lifelong friendships. I am nice to her. We have a couple of inside jokes. I remember her birthday and her child's birthday. We trade recipes. I ask her if she needs help when she's swamped. We generally get along. My manager and other staff all agree Maggie avoids work and uses her dislike of me as an excuse. We are getting a much-needed additional person, and this person needs to be near my manager. This is how the office has always worked. It's not new. We all did it when we first started. Maggie has recently been asked to move her desk in our small office closer to me, so she's more visible to staff and customers. When Maggie was told she would have a desk in the front, next to me, and no longer the desk by the manager, she burst into tears and cried on and off all day. She said she feels like she's being punished for something she doesn't understand, that she needs to have the quieter desk by the manager because she only feels relaxed next to the manager, and that I'm too loud. I trigger her anxiety. She can't work near me, and she wants to remind everyone she's not racist. I am a black woman. She didn't come in for the rest of the week, saying all the anxiety of being demoted has caused her severe vomiting and migraines. She was never promoted, and no one understands why she thinks she was, as her pay and title never changed. All this happened while my poor manager was on a much-needed vacation and had to field Maggie's emails and communications while she was supposed to be relaxing. I, for one, am bewildered at this woman's behavior and cannot understand why someone would throw such a tantrum about a front desk position we both share. And I'm obviously insulted that Maggie is so upset to even be near me. She would rather self-sabotage her own career than be near a black person? Honestly, completely bewildering. And HR's solution? Have her move back to her old desk. After she threw a nearly week-long tantrum, they are just going to give in and let her get what she wants. Now I'm annoyed, but honestly not surprised. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. It's not you. She doesn't want to do the work and knows that if you can see her, you will expect her to do her job. She liked hiding in the back. She didn't have to do the job there. Agreed. I know it's not me, but I've never witnessed such behavior in an office environment with human adults and been the brunt of this ire. She liked hiding, something we all knew. But now that she's being forced to work, she's panicking. Not sure how Monday is going to go, but we'll see. I am sorry you are dealing with this person. Is this a small business? I know you said the office is small. Is that the whole business? Or are you in a department in a larger business? I am thinking of discrimination laws. She is creating a hostile work environment for you. I take it your manager doesn't see the problem or want to address it? It's a large business, but has a small admin staff that handles the main location and several satellite locations. We are understaffed, and due to business needs growing, additional staff has been added, and she simply needs to move to accommodate this new person. My manager and her boss are livid at HR, but HR is saying they have to be ADA compliant since she is claiming anxiety. It's just so stupid. We're here to work. It's not personal. I think a better strategy would be for you to ask not to be forced to be part of another employee's accommodation. Because while Maggie may be entitled to accommodations, that doesn't mean you should suffer for them. You could also ask for a raise, but I doubt that would solve the issues with her day-to-day workflow. In fact, management could take it as an admission to pile even more of Maggie's work onto your plate. First update. So Monday happened. No Maggie. Maggie was emailing and messaging everyone all weekend, demanding the desks be rearranged. She said she's unable to eat without vomiting, has hives, and her health is in jeopardy because of the stress this has caused. Dear reader, it is Buddy Desk. A friend who works in HR told me that this behavior is incredibly common when it comes to holding adults accountable for their actions, and she's glad I got to experience firsthand what she deals with daily, so we had a good laugh. She also recommended to me what the managers had already figured out for themselves. I was going to recommend it to them if they were just going to let her keep her old space, so that's good. Managers and HR got together and agreed this is performative and annoying, so she has however many days to submit documentation that she needs special accommodations, or she can either continue working at the new desk or be terminated, so we'll see. I feel better knowing that this situation is not only absurd, but that being as close to it as I am, commenters pointed out how obscenely absurd it was, and that was reassuring. I know this isn't about me, it's about her wanting to avoid work. Thanks for reading, and if anything more happens, I'll update any interested parties. Second update. She has not returned and has stopped communication.